Welcome to three column notes in math. Often it's seen as mathematics as you are given a question, you put down the right answer, and you're done taking notes. It's a little bit different than that, and there's a little bit better of a way to put down your thoughts on paper. So in this case here, I'm giving you three different columns that we're going to walk through on how to take notes, whether it be during class or if you're given questions for homework. This way you'll be able to take the notes. Then when you look back at the notes, it'll actually help you in understanding and solidifying the knowledge that you learned in class or with the homework. So I'm given a question down here at the bottom. This isn't part of the three column notes. Really, you should be given the problem in either your homework or up on the board or wherever you are working on the mathematics. The question here is not going to be identical to what you have at the bottom here, but you'll see in just a second. So you're making a gingerbread house for the holidays, and the baking sheet you have for the bottom of the house is 2 feet by 3 feet. What is the area of your gingerbread house floor going to be? So to do this, I'm going to ignore the questions and the steps column at first. I just want to solve this problem. I want to show everything that I'm doing to solve it. So if I'm imagining the bottom of the gingerbread house or the baking pan, I know that it's going to be a rectangle. And as it's said in the problem, it's 2 feet by 3 feet. So it's 2 feet by 3 feet. I know I need to find the area of a rectangle. Area of a rectangle equals length times width. So I'm going to take 2 and multiply it by 3, which gives us an answer of 6 feet squared. So the area of the floor of our gingerbread house is going to be 6 feet squared. That's what I'm all done with the notes section there. All I'm doing in the notes section is walking through this and doing the problem and writing it down in my notes section. Now, after I'm done with this, this is where it comes into the difference between what you may be doing now with your notes and what you can do with three different columns. So the first thing is I want to figure out, what is this question really asking? And again, I don't want to just copy down this entire question, because you're probably not going to be asked this exact question ever again, maybe in your life, whether it be either in your class or in the future. So this specific question isn't that important, but figuring out what the question is asking and what type of question it is, now that might be important. So in this case here, we're asked to find the area of the gingerbread house floor. So in this case here, I know that the floor is a rectangle, so my real question is, well, what's the area of a rectangle? So I'll tell you why this question is important in just a second, but really I think you need to understand that this question here is an example and you're practicing, and that's the whole point in mathematics, is that you're asked a question and you're practicing the math that you learn. So pulling out this question, really this is just more of a general question than what you were originally asked. So the next step is seeing, okay, hey, I solved this problem. I'm going to look back at my notes and figure out, okay, what is it step by step that I did to solve this problem? So the first thing I did is, okay, well, I drew a diagram. I drew what this gingerbread house floor is going to look like. After I did that, I had to think about, okay, well, how am I going to actually find the area here? I know that the dimensions of it is 2 feet by 3 feet, so I know that that's going to be my length and my width. So I then needed to know that, okay, what the area of a rectangle is. Then after that, all I had to do was multiply the length times the width. So once I did that, I solved my problem. So I had 3 steps here that I took to solve my problem. And now here's why it's important to be able to do this question and the steps and how it's going to help you in the future. So this notes, like I said, you could always come back after you've done this, if you're studying for a test, and look at your notes and try and figure out, okay, what was the question again? Because you're probably not going to have this entire question in your notes or anywhere, but you could look at your notes and say, I don't really know, but I'm going to walk through this here, and I know that I did 2 times 3. Okay, I think I got it. But now, not only can you do that, but you can actually look at the question here and understand that this question, well, it's not saying a gingerbread house, blah, blah, blah. It's saying, what is the area of a rectangle? So, okay, I know that if I'm looking at these notes, it's telling me that I'm studying how to find the area of a rectangle. The second thing that I can do is I can figure out, okay, if I'm trying to figure out what the area of a rectangle is, And if I have other practice problems and I'm going through the problems and I'm not sure how to do it, well, I can look back at this question and I can look through these steps. Because we made this question and these steps general enough where they don't just apply to this gingerbread house problem. They apply to any problem that is asked, what is the area of a rectangle? So what we can really do is we can look at these questions and these steps and ignore all of these notes and just think, okay, if I have a new problem, let's apply these steps to them. So if it's the area of some other rectangle, that may be a different situation. If I know the question is asking what is the area of a rectangle, well then my first step is draw a diagram. I know it's going to be area is length times width. Then I just multiply those two dimensions. The question and the steps apply to anything. So hopefully after taking the notes, then figuring out what the question is and writing down the steps, it'll help you in 3 different ways to help you study or understand the mathematics when you're in class or you're taking homework. Now, what I'm going to have is that right below you, you're going to have a question, another question here, and a setup for 3 column notes. What I'd like you to do is read the question in your head, work through the problem in the notes section, pull out what the question is asking, then write down the steps that it takes to solve the problem. That way, when you look back at those notes, you'll always be able to answer that question with these steps. Good luck, and I hope the math adventure goes well.